So think of Intuitive Machines as a NASA partner that builds rovers and spacecrafts to make their way to the moon. So this is a company we're trading this morning, LUNR. They're partnered with NASA on a few projects. And again, they make the landers and the spacecrafts that land on the moon. We are, looking at them because they're creating the space infrastructure, whether it's the roads and utilities, but for space. And they make these communication systems so that astronauts and robots can talk back to Earth from different parts in space. Now, they're a growing space company. They are expected to be worth, in the hundreds of billions of dollars in the coming decades if they could be one of the top players that they're building out to be. Why people are watching the company is really just because of their big government contract. And that's why we follow them. And so they're a market cap of about 1.8 billion. They've got a growing backlog of about $328 million in booked projects that are waiting to be completed. That's like having just like a very long list of already paid orders, which is good. And they recently got some more contracts, including a $9.8 million project for an orbital transfer vehicle. So it's kind of like a tugboat or like a ferry in space, which is pretty cool. And personally, what we're looking at here is a growth that we're looking at. That's why I'm in it. So revenue of 20% year over year, and we're seeing their annual increase. Their net income was down a little bit there in 2024, end of 2024, and their balance sheet looks good with increased assets. But revenue is really kind of up to about 50 million. It's up 21% from last year. The profit and loss, they lost about 38 million though this quarter. They were spending more to make some more, and they did cut their guidance a little bit for their lowered expectations on 2025, seeing that they'll make probably a little bit less than they originally hoped, but still increasing year over year. And their goal is to be profitable by the end of 2025, which they did have one profitable quarter back in March. So what are we looking at here, and why did we trade it? Well, we traded it and it ended up hitting our stop loss at about 2% this morning. They have some upcoming missions that we want to watch, see if they go smoothly for maybe a longer term trade up into these levels. We're looking at a $14 price point somewhere here. It's about a 30% swing. They have NASA commercial deals as well that could add to their future revenue. And the space economy is definitely seeing a lot more growth right now. So as these contracts start to heat up, LUNR could definitely benefit. So the risks here is you probably want to, think about this in a way that it's like they're a startup. They could swing in a big way. They got a smaller market cap, just around 1.8 billion. And so the losses can be sudden. That's why we set a stop loss this morning right here at 10.27, somewhere in here. Because look at that. It sold off after hours about 10%. Those are the types of moves that if you're trading short term and you don't manage risk, they can make you lose faith. So the other thing that they have going on, a little bit of dilution, not anything bad, but they did have some dilution, convertible notes, things like that, to increase the number of shares in the company that we saw them do recently. So that does happen sometimes in early stage companies. But LUNR is like a startup in space, more or less. They are Intuitive Machines here. You can see their investor relations. If you believe in the long-term economy of space and the infrastructure that's getting built, and you can handle the ups and downs, it could be worth, kind of a small speculative position on the long term. If you prefer safe, steady growth, this might not be the best space stock for you, as they are slightly more unpredictable right now. But before buying, if you're looking for long-term plays, things like that, just kind of looking at their missions, kind of seeing where they're launching, who they're launching with is always a good thing, just to get an idea of their track record. Seems like they've had a lot of successful launches, which is always good to see. But the main thing I would look for and why we're trading them from a technical perspective, before actually we even get into the technical perspective, the backlog, the new amounts of business that we see, I think is a really good indication that they could see some growth here. But also, let's take a look at the technicals. If we're looking at them maybe getting this overall trend. And again, we got stopped out today, so we're gonna watch here. But they're down here around $9 a share now, or 9.40. They sharply kind of dropped here, and these big moves, they happen fast. You can see that they were up to $24 at one point. They've been kind of stair-stepping a little bit up into this $6 range and into this $9 range, and trying to make now what is a shorter term recovery, about a 30% swing up into this $13 range. And then what would be a full kind of recovery on its uptrend here would be something like this, probably more conservatively, something like this. We're looking at about a 50 to 70% increase if they continue to hold their momentum. Now, we just did a short trade today, just I think somewhere around 325 shares at market open. Let's see what it was. Yeah, 325 shares. We were looking for about $350 profit today, somewhere in here. Ended up losing about 2% on the trade. So I think, what did that come out to? I think it was somewhere around, I don't know, $60 down. Well, we were looking for about a $340, $350 profit. Didn't quite go well today, but it went according to plan. In fact, it actually went great. I know that it's like, oh, you lost some money, but we lost 60. We're going for 350. I'm fine with that. And also, having our stop loss set and selling out right here at $10.30 before it, had a dip after hours. We saw it dip as low as $9. So important to have that stop loss, because those types of moves happen with this company. So now that they've sold down to this $9 price point, they're kind of looking to maybe even break this support. So we got to watch this level. They have this trend. We were hoping they were going to recover here, but this is kind of what you see right here. And all we could do is really go in with a plan. We don't know who's going to sell, right? So that's why we had our stop loss and executed before that dip. But you can see this downtrend right now. Maybe we see it break back up into that $9, $10 range before then we could look for another recovery and look for something like that. So take a similar trade, actually. So nothing wrong with it. Just want to share an update on LUNR. That's kind of what we've been focused on lately, is space stocks, AI stocks, definitely looking at data centers and quantum companies as well. And if you want to stay up to date, learn how to trade these companies, make sure to subscribe. If you ever want to join us in our daily live trading sessions, it's the second link in the description. We go live there every morning at Market Open and Stockmate. Hopefully, I earned your thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.